Easy. Camera adjusting. It's not bad. Yeah, okay. What's next? Mr. Nosler, hello. Good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening. And how are you? Is Tuesday going any better than your Monday? Let's turn off that intro music as well whilst we're... There we go. There we go. Pause that since you're here with us now. Yes, is Tuesday an improvement on Monday? Are we getting somewhere? And then if not, we'll still put a smile on your face. Don't you fret. This is where people come to smile. Or I think be vaguely amused. Jury's still out a little bit. So. Cheers out to my lovely chat this evening with my sister-in-law. That's what we were doing. That's why I'm a little bit behind, because I couldn't tear myself away. It's her birthday today, so to my marvellous sister-in-law, marvellous and happy birthday to you. Your daughters, my nieces, are an absolute joy, if loud. Love them to bits, they're marvellous. So yes, so all in all for me, lovely evening. I get food, I get family, Marvellous. Tuesday was more productive. Good. Happier? Happy is more important than productive. Yes, I'm excellent, thank you. So, one of those days where I sort of petered off towards the afternoon for once, which is unusual for me. So I got a little bit of time just to fiddle with the computer just a little bit. However, poor Mrs. Owl is still at it, so she's upstairs working still. So she's going to come down once we're part way through. So let's do it, shall we? So here we go. You'll have seen it on Instagram. I can tell you, so far, this has got to be one of the best smelling marinades I've had in a long while. I don't know what it is. I think it must be the lime that's singing to me. So, yes, I'm great, Mr. Osland. No complaints here. I'm happy, happy chappy. I tell you what, though, we're about to get this on and simmering, so I think we're going to need a new camera angle in a second. So, let's get our stock ready. The naan bread, actually, whilst we're doing that, we'll get that sat there. I don't know if this is a tip I think I picked up from somewhere. If you're cooking meat that has marinade, take it out a little bit earlier so it's not going straight from cold to straight to being cooked. I think it does it some good. The naan bread, however, is another question because the recipe we wanted to try was originally American. So that's not a problem in itself, of course, I'm slating the Americans here. But there was a difference of ingredients between cups and millilitres, and for a start I didn't notice that they'd measured it in Fahrenheit, so I went to go and get 115 degrees Celsius water, then realised that that's ridiculous and that will just boil and kill off the yeast. So this is meant to be a very wet dough, and it just isn't. It has certainly doubled in size, but this is meant to be almost sort of unworkably wet by the recipe. And to me, that looks just, I could use that with my hands. So it's going to be a bit interesting. The first thing we're going to do is get the curry on the go. And so that can very slowly cook and come up to a nice temperature whilst we're sorting out the naan breads. And at some point as well, Joe is here as well. We have our backbone. How are you, Joe? Is your Tuesday an improvement on your Monday? We're back to making rhubarb again. Not tonight, but I managed to pick some up on some of my travels, so I'm going to have a little bit of fun, make myself some more. So we're just getting ourselves warmed up, Joe. We've got our, bring it out here, I'm really quite excited about this one, marinated garlic and lime chicken for our chicken balti. We have got behind me our naan bread with Greek yogurt in there as well. As I was just saying to Mr. Nosler, it's going to be interesting, this one, because the description of it says that this should be almost sort of, if I do that, the description said it should pretty much be rolling around the bowl. It is a lot thicker, I think, than the recipe intended. So I have this concern that one of the ingredients in the recipe, because it was an American recipe, hasn't translated brilliantly. Has it been rather soggy where you are? How are the owls? The owl household is marvellous. Thank you very much, Joe. Poor Mrs. Owl is still having to work, unfortunately, bless her heart. So she is currently thumping away upstairs. She's going to come down once we're ready to eat and just do a bit of a taste test on the way out. So we're going to get this on and just very slowly cook it. Try and keep it as tender as possible. But we certainly have no complaints in this corner of the world, especially given everything that's going on in the world, of course. So let's just get ourselves some, we'll do a stock stream as well at some point. Get the windows open and make some homemade ones. But for now, it's a Tuesday evening. Let's just use the stock cube. So what's new in both corners of your worlds, Joe and Mr. Nosler? Doing all right? I had a bit of, just saying to Mr. Nosler, I had a little bit of time this afternoon, so I've been testing some of the games that have been downloaded, just seeing how the graphics work and just making sure everything's downloaded. A couple of them are being a bit finicky, so I'll sort them out. My brother's offered to fix OBS or Streamlabs OBS stands. I just haven't been able to take him up on it, so we're going to do that too. For now, ooh, that's a bit hot. Let's pop that there. Let's turn you good gents around. Have you pH tested your blackened Hey, that's a good point. No, we haven't. I haven't opened it yet, to be fair. Go on, let's do that. Let's see. Let's get that one. Right. Because I've actually got the litmus paper out here somewhere. Where did I leave it? I'm asking that rhetorically, chaps. I'm not expecting you to know. Don't worry. It'd be a bit much if I was expecting that. Here we go. Right, let's... Visual inspection. Right, let's... Oh, God, I won't even know. Ah. There we go. That is not a good sign. I do not think. That's pitch black. That's not even... Yeah. That's a kind of ink, seaweed ink black. So I'm going to tentatively put my nose in it. Oh, yeah. Something doesn't smell quite right about that. My biggest concern is, obviously, you could just take what's in the bottom half and say... Yeah, Quite so, Mr. Nozzle, quite so. I fear the very last jar has not survived. It is only the last jar, it's a shame, but again, useful experiment. And this time I actually forgot to put labels on them because I was at one point eating them very quickly. And then, funnily enough, the COVID outbreak happened and I just wasn't taking them with me to my day job. So, litmus paper, we're going to... I'll be honest, I don't even really want to touch that. But, so... No, what the hell. I'll do it and I'll wash my hands afterwards. Here we go. Right. Further cement for the fat. Quite possibly. Let's have a... Whoa, yeah, that's not good. Right. What we've got here is our sliding litmus scale. What we want is all the way down here to show that it's acidic, and that, because that is what we are doing, we are pickling. The colour that I'm getting is when you hold it, the light may not show, but the Heinz factory, I would, if Heinz need a helping hand, I should be glad to get it. But honestly, I'm looking at this and it is coming up at the very opposite end of the scale, so it's about 11 or so, so that's very, very alkaline, which suggests... Unfortunately, the seal has not kept around the top of the jar, air has got in, and the risk is simply, well, let's put it this way, botulism, not worth the risk, I'm afraid, for what is otherwise would have been a tasty, tasty morsel. So, top tip from me, just not worth your health, chaps. So, sadly, that one is, I'm afraid, going in the, it's going to be going in the compost. It's going to have to go, very unfortunately. That is a shame, but again, your health's more important. Don't risk it. And to be honest, I've watched Bradley only online, and he says, you can take certain things out. If you've got a bit of mould, you could cut out the infected area, test it again. That has been sealed. That's the last one, and it's been sealed so long. I just can't tell how far that will have penetrated down into the rest of it. And I'm certainly not risking our health, I'm afraid, on that. I know it seems wasteful, but health first, chaps. Health first. So let's... I'm putting that to one side. You'll forgive me if I turn my back for a moment. So I'll just wash my hands. There we are. Would that constitute brown or green? Do you know what? Who knows? Maybe we'll get black compost. Never had that before, but it's a possibility. So that's a shame. But again, it's all useful stuff to learn this. And of course, with all these things, keeping labelling very important. I didn't, in fact, do it well enough this time, I don't think. Sorry, camera angle's not brilliant there, folks. Hang on. Unfortunately, one of the legs of what has so far been a very good tripod has gone a bit wibbly, and it's a little bit variable. So let's get back to the curry, shall we? So this is a basic recipe, which I quite like because the whole point is to keep calories down. I'm even going to try and do it the way they suggest. I may ad-lib slightly because poor Mrs. Al's had a long day, so suggest spraying in the oil. Quite frankly though, if this isn't enough, I'm just going to grab my groundnut oil and just get a bit more in. You need 4 to 1 brown to green for an efficient mulch. I'm more worried that that's going to create some life in the undergrowth. Something will just come up from the compost and say, you threw me out. She'll come for my revenge. So, obviously we've got peppers going in once that's warm. The recipe calls for 4... Oh, do you know, that's not enough oil. Skin flint here. Calls for 4 red peppers. I've opted to go for 3 and some courgette. Again, just catering to my audience. Mrs. Ally, a fan of courgette. So why not? Let's eat the thing you like to eat. But I'll put that in towards the end of the simmer, just because obviously the pepper and the chicken will be the bit that cooks the longest. So it's clearly going to make quite a big curry, this as well. Actually, a thought that occurred to me the other night. Have you chaps had any of the recipes you've seen that you particularly like either written up or shared, or want to do them again, or a 6th state of man? Could be. Who knows? We're at the cutting edge here, Joe. It's not just amateur television anymore. We're making life. So long as it just doesn't come back for vengeance, we're all right, really. Just going to fill this up. Let's see if this works. Is that going to work? Yes, it is. Brand new funnel combo. So stop spraying things all over the countertop. There we go. There we go. Lovely job. I also had a crack at my younger brother's suggestion, the game Super Hot, which is the VR game. Now, I don't have VR goggles or anything, but it seems a very interesting game. A sort of interesting combination of Tron Legacy and The Matrix. So I had a little tinker with that. And then I got beaten on the head by people with clubs, and there didn't seem to be a way to avoid it, which was a tad unusual and a little bit frustrating, but there we are. There we are. So, solid liquid gas plasma antivirus and black gloop. Super. You're a fan of Super Hot. What am I missing then, Joe? Explain it. I was doing the tutorial bit and it said you can grab melee weapons, and there were 4 people surrounding me. I hit one of them, and I turned around and someone just walloped me in the head. It's dashed unsporting on my view. But I then had to obviously come down and prep, so if there was a simple way, maybe I didn't get there. Or maybe I'm just not very good at it. In fact, if I was to do this again, I've already realised what I'd do differently, this particular recipe. Go for 2 peppers, 1 onion and courgette instead. However, if I do that with every single curry I have, that's all going to look very, very familiar. So, you know, let's try something new. Underman, hello, hi, how are you? Welcome on. Welcome to our lovely conversation this evening. Hope you're well. Got Joe and Mr. Nosler here with us. I hope you're having a good Tuesday too. Super hard, a lot of fun. You've got to move as little as possible to avoid being hit. Oh, is that it? Oh, maybe I walked too close to them and I should have tried to hit them from further away. So what we're making tonight is a garlic and lime Balti curry with some homemade naan breads to go along with it. So just getting the peppers started because I think that's the bit that'll take the longest. We have also, it's just off camera, been investigating our, well actually the first ever pickling experiment, which was sauerkraut, and I've discovered that at the top some air has leaked in, if you're interested in pickling and preserving, and it's gone incredibly alkaline and it's not quite safe for us to eat anymore. It's a bit of a shame, but health first. I assume you gather the principle that if you are static, time slows to a near halt. Ah, I see. That makes sense. Right, okay. That confused me a little bit. I was wondering why when I sort of threw my hands in the air and not knowing what happened, they stopped fighting me. I should have twigged. I should have realised. Now it's starting to make more sense. Spot more oil. I know that, strictly speaking, the reason the recipe is so healthy is it says easy on the oil. In fact, I even went and bought some of this low-calorie oil, but I wanted to use this up first, so what the heck. It's still going to be a very healthy meal. It's your first time with us, Ender. I hope you're enjoying it. Got Joe and Mr. Nosler here, our firm and favourite regulars. We will of course want to know your position on Heinz baked beans. Very important question in the world. The salt as well. So that's the point, chaps. Did you have a chance to go and have a look at Discord? Did it work? Don't worry if not. Right, so I'm going to leave that alone for a minute. Let that start going. Next up, marinated chicken. Do you know Turkish kitchen? Must have not cooked much Turkish food. I must confess I haven't really tried many recipes of Turkish. I've been to a couple of Turkish restaurants. Mrs. Owl, who's normally with us, one of our penchant and favourite foods is Italian, just simply because it's where we went on honeymoon and gone several times together. But anything in particular, do you a fan of Turkish food, Ender? Is it local cuisine for you? I would join, however, I've not got Discord. Don't worry, Joe, not a problem. It's just there for those that want it. In fact, to be fair, before I started this, I didn't either. So I've never used it in my life. I just thought, why not? If people want to go and have a chinwag, I can put them in the right direction. I did join the Discord when you said, oh, it appears to be working. I believe it's just you and me on the server. But you and I can chat then, Mr. Nosler. There we go. Joe, if you get yourself signed up, you've got a free messaging service. Or talking service. Honestly, I should actually use it and work out what it's all about. So I've started to get... Peppers are a little bit soft. So what we're going to do is... However, exactly, I'm pushing you two... I don't need to push you two together, you're firm friends. So here we go. In goes our chicken with marinade. Yeah. I tell you, some of the lime smell coming off it is phenomenal. Love the lime. Very, very good. Right, okay, let's get that in to the bottom of the pan. Turkish kitchen is a very good kitchen. I believe it. Certainly believe it. Got any personal recommendations, Ander? I must admit, here's a question where I'm going to show possibly I've got the wrong backing here, but I know baklava. Is baklava Turkish or is that from Cyprus? I've forgotten. Normally I'd check it on my phone, except obviously my phone is helping power the camera at the moment, so I can't do that. It's Turkish, isn't it? Yes, I must admit, I'm a fan of it, but only in very small doses. I've got a sweet tooth, but even for me, baklava is very sweet. But I must admit, it is a most interesting idea to make. I think it would be way too sweet for Mrs. Owl, but maybe worth a thought. And kebabs. Again, I thought that was Greek, the likes of kofta and keftedes and what's the other one? Gyros. That's a good question actually. I don't know where the kebab originated. So obviously I'm putting in a bit more seasoning than the recipe calls for, but it's a little penchant of mine. Most things can be livened up with a spot of salt and pepper in my view. Not that I think this is going to need much livening to be fair, so maybe actually I should ease back. So we're going to try and get some browning and some colour on the chicken, so that to that end I'm going to whack up the temperature a bit. Very sweet, but eating holy special day. Ah, right, I see, okay. Very good. Nothing special about today, apart from I'm pleased to have people here to chat with, and we're making a curry that we've never made before. All in all, pretty darn good. I had a chance to have a nice chat with my nieces as well, and well, I say chat with my nieces, chat with my sister-in-law, and the nieces made a lot of noise, and got very excited and ran around, because they're delightful, and that is what children do. So I'm going to just bring you in for a camera eye view. There we go. Actually, there we go. Hold the tripod carefully because it is falling apart. As you can see, oops, a daisy, even the camera's wobbling. So it's clearly going to be a very bright, vibrant curry, this, which is exactly the sort of thing you're after, really. Close-up camera stuff here, chaps. Pro stuff. Who are we kidding? We're not pro here. We're local and friendly. One of these days, I think, chaps, I'm going to try and do this with the camera moving, and I'm accidentally just going to be... You're going to be staring right at my face one of these days, and there's going to be absolutely nothing I can do about it. There we are. So, that's starting to colour off quite nicely. Spot more oil there for the ingredients on top. Soon we'll get the lid on this, the rest of the ingredients, and then I'm going to turn the temperature right down, and that's going to simmer away whilst we get our homemade naan breads on the go. Now, secret here, chaps, that I didn't actually give away. When we're doing the naans, we're not just going to fry them on our skillet, we're going to have a crack at braising them on an open flame. Ooh. Let's see how that goes. What do we think? Am I about to cause a massive calamity? Quite possibly. So let's just get ourselves a quick knife. Let's see how the chicken is coming along. It's just... Now, that's already suggesting to me not nearly enough. Oh no. Oh, well, we're getting that. The rest will cook with heat. I believe he's preparing a chicken curry, not turkey. Yes, quite right. It is a chicken curry. This garlic lime balti with chicken, peppers, courgettes, and to be honest, the sauce we did in the last stream. If you're interested in this Ender, it's there on Twitch. We did that one yesterday with the chaps. So I'm going to turn that right down. The next step we've got. Maybe you should do a cassoulet stream. That might be rather fun. Because one of these days, obviously, it'd be quite nice to do a full day, if I ever have the time and chance. Spend the entire day just cooking with you good folk. One of those mega length streams. Just a bit of hot water there. Get that on top. So, we don't want that in. So let's get this curry combined together. We'll bring it up to a simmer and then just let it do its thing. And we'll get cracking with the naan breads. Mix all that in. In fact, I may have turned down the temperature prematurely. Let's get that to a simmer at least before we put the lid on. There we are. Try and get all of that down under the level of the line of the liquid. You can already see the marinade is coming off nicely into the sauce, so just before I put the lid on, Maybe a recipe section in your Discord. That's not a bad shout, actually. I wonder if we can do that. Because I don't know, it'd be quite nice, actually, depending if I time it right. If people ever wanted to, they could maybe even cook along as we did it. Give it a go. So let's get rid of that. I'll be honest, the only problem there is I lead you all astray by doing something 24-hour make as many beans as humanly possible. Ah. Do you know, funnily enough, there is a plan for beans. I have got a plan. Because... that's the wrong one. I couldn't help but think. There we are. So we're getting to a simmer, so popping that on. Once it's simmering, I'll turn the temperature down. So let's come back here for a minute. There we go. Right, so no longer need that. Need that. Recipe section, definitely a good idea. Yes. My only concern would be leading everyone astray, saying, follow my lead, and let's do the recipe like this. And then it turns out I'm doing it wrong the whole way through. Right, here's the bit which I was concerned about, if I'm entirely honest, because it has not turned out the way I thought that it would. This is meant to be a very, very wet dough. It has risen nicely. It is looking good if I was doing a completely different recipe. So with the curry doing its thing, I'm just going to turn that down, roll up my sleeves, and let's see about these naan breads. So first, pork. Let's flour our, never guess, plain flour. So you might be able to help us, Mr. Nozick. Is there a section to put things like Word documents and, or even just typing it up myself? Does Discord have that kind of functionality? So, light dusting of flour. Put some on my own hands just because I think that's going to be needed. Right. Let's turn this out. Ooh, so daisy. Well, that went out pretty easy. What's concerning me is the recipe says this should be very wet, very hard to handle, and should in effect have just gone out like the last one did, like the ciabatta one did, but because it's just fallen out. Mrs. Owl is going to be horridly going to create a lot of washing up. Okay, let's, I think, just do some improvisation here. Sometimes it's the case, go with the gut slightly with baking. So let's just, whoa, that is the exact opposite of what the recipe, I've joined the Discord. Yet the dough, I don't know what's happened here. It's meant to be so wet I can barely handle it. I mean, I don't know what's happened here, chaps. Do I roll it? It says divide into 10 pieces, but I mean, quite frank, it doesn't. Maybe we're going to have a dough stream. Because I used to do it an awful lot. I was quite happy working with dough, but every time I've done it live to camera, it's gone wrong. Which is frustrating. So, well, we need 10 pieces. I think, well, maybe let's just try and gently roll it out, shall we? It's no suggestion of needing to knead or prove it in the recipe. So, here we go. Let's just... Discord, you can create numerous channels that we can use for either text or speech. What you can do is make one for recipes and put it on read-only. Marvellous. I'll look into that. I think that's a super idea. Especially because since we do like take 1 and take 2... Oh my goodness. This is... Oh dear, chaps. Let's soldier through with a brave face, but oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. This is not what we were after. In fact... flour may be the wrong way to go on my hands. Let's just see whether or not oil might help here. So let's 1, 2. So I don't think the sizing is the problem here. 3. I'm being a very bad live presenter. I'm putting them all off shot, aren't I? 4. 5. I don't want too big now. 6. 7. Well, some of these are too big. Hang on. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's cut a bit off you. A bit from you. Tiny bit from you. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Maybe a spot from you. A spot from you. So here is where this might need to take 2, because what we're meant to have is wet, barely manageable balls of dough. I mean, it seems to, yeah, I can only describe it as incredibly sticky, even stickier than last time. And that was pretty darn sticky. Tagline of this entire stream: it's pretty darn sticky. Right, curry's now going too hard as well. Right, okay. The only thing I can hope is it goes like last time, where I was worried and worried and worried, and then we actually put it on and it sort of worked. So I'm just going to lightly oil my hands, just a little bit of. Guess the only thing I can think to do is just slightly improv here. And applying a little bit of oil, you get a slightly nicer texture to it. Try not to work it too much. Mrs. Al may well indeed be watching upstairs and either in hysterics or terribly sad because she's been looking forward to dinner. But I mean, it is that sticky that I'm oiling my hands effectively each time I roll them out. So I'm going to try and get them to something naan shaped at the very least. Or maybe a channel where we could suggest poll for the consequent week's stream. That's not a bad idea. I was going to try and find one of those overlays where you could do that whilst we're chatting, but absolutely. I mean, I was hoping there might be an extension out there where it would let you see what is in my entire stream library. And to be honest, if there are things and people say, you know what, we're really into, I don't know, if it's games, for example, if you say, well, look, we're really enjoying watching X or Y, do you fancy carrying that on? You know what, the mood might take me elsewhere. Myself and Mrs. Al may have had a long day and we may want to just sit on the couch and do something 2D game-like. But otherwise, you know, if people have got things that they're really enjoying, maybe we'll crack on and we'll sort of keep a run of it going. Gosh, this is... I mean, I'm not showing myself off well here, am I? As on the bakery side of things, which is oddly enough one of my favourite things to do. It is just not with me tonight. The baking gods do not smile upon my cause. So, whilst I'm still covered in it, I'm going to just try oiling this rather than flouring it. Hang on. Let's just clean this down a bit. Must admit, there was a rather marvellous moment where I was trying to decipher the American and British recipe translated, and I was getting to 115 degrees Celsius to prove the yeast. And it only occurred to me partway through, hang on a minute, this is ludicrous, I'm going to cook and destroy the yeast entirely. Anyway, hang on, before we get cracking on that, well, if nothing else, the main part of the dish is looking alright. Let's bring you over and have a look. Look at that. That's not looking too shabby, is it? Let's stir this around. Just lovely jubbly. There we go, back we come. So, lid on. Now let's, gonna get some oil on our, in fact, what's the best way of doing this? I'm just gonna put it in my hands and then do the rolling pin through my hand. So hopefully it shouldn't need more than that, and then I'm just gonna roll it through. Hopefully this wet dough will comply. So we want just to try and get something that's slightly naan-like. I'll be honest, if these are also indigestible, it'll be a terrible shame. We've already lost some of our pickling this evening. There we are. So just roll these out and try and get them to look like a naan. In fact, because curry's still taking a little while, what we could always do, before poor Mrs. L comes down and her poor dinner is ruined, what do we think, chap? Shall we have a go at these three and see how we do? Just see whether or not we can get a passable result from them. Because the next thing that was called for, I need my tongs for this, is we fry them on a dry heat. Whoops, daisy. Camera is deciding to, whoops, hang on. The camera is deciding to fall over. Wait a minute. You vote yes, worth a shot. Go on, yes, let's do it. And then I'll try it before Mrs. Owl comes down and is terribly disappointed. So we want a dry fry of these. So let's get a hot, sorry if the noise is loud, but we're going to need an extractor fan here. So we're going to put, oh, what the hell that is loud. Maybe we won't, actually, we'll do with that. So hang on. Let's get the temperature on high. Get that tiny bit of flour out that's sat there. And also the fact that I've just had to oil them might help us here, because also means I don't need to put any in the pan, which is useful. Because yes, it would be quite good for you to be able to see the sorts of things we've got. I mean, there's one that I hadn't even planned to buy, and then I saw it and I thought it looked hilarious. It's called This is the Police, and you're a police chief. And basically you sort of have to do the admin for the police force. I don't know, it just seemed really appealing to me. Let's pick the most naan-like looking one. How are we doing on temperature? Not quite. How are we doing on curry? Looking good on curry, at least. The main bit's alright. Maybe alright here, folks. There we go, right. So let's just try and, oh, well, we lost the naan shape. Let's just see. What we are apparently hoping for is for bubbles to come up through. Let's give some oil to sit on that. I'm hoping just we're going to get some bubbles coming up through the dough, and at that point we turn it. In fact, you still can't see it, it's too close, can't you? So there we go. Just tilt you for now. What I'm looking for then is to see bubbles. My concern is it looks so dense, I cannot see bubbles getting through this. There's something very, very, very odd that has happened somewhere along the line. How many aprons do we have? Waffle, hello, how are you? You've joined us just at the moment of either calamity or success. It's kind of up in the air at the moment. Well, I've got this one. I've been meaning to get a new one. Mrs. Owl's got one herself. Although I'm looking at it now in the camera, I think I do need to clean it. It is a little bit mucky, I'm afraid. So I'm just hoping that we're going to see soon some bubbling through of the mixture. I'll be honest, chaps. Any funny aprons? Do you know, I don't own any funny aprons actually. This one's actually really helpful because it actually contains lots of cooking times and things on the front of it. An owl apron. Do you know what? Maybe we are missing a trick here. Right, hang on. Let's just try and have a look underneath. Well, yeah, instantly I can see things are not going as per the recipe because we've got no air bubbles coming through the bottom of it. But it's already browning very much on the other side. So maybe the answer is going to be to roll them even thinner. Maybe a Heinz bean apron. Oh yes, an owl apron, since we see the apron. You do see the apron a lot, don't you? Maybe there does need to be a bit of a collection. I've had possibly an idea. Along the lines of Baldric. Hang on, I've had a good idea. Let's thin it out. If we... Oh, no, that has not worked. That has not worked at all. Nope, that's... Yeah, all I've done there is make the bottom of the glass dirty. Right, hang on, let's flip it. No, this is... Oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. I don't think we're going to have the desired effect we wanted here. Try and roll the next two as thin as I possibly can. Just to explain, Waffle, what happened was that this is an American recipe that looked fantastic, but I think something's gone wrong with the translation of the proportions and the ingredients, because what we should have been seeing is air pockets coming through it, and I'll be honest, what we're getting is closer to... yeah, no, not blaming the Americans. The problem, I promise, exists with the chef. If I can't interpret the ingredients, it's not the fault of the person who read the recipe. I promise you that. So, however, the curry back here, looking and smelling pretty darn good. It might just be that I need to quickly whip up a little bit of rice, because we were going to have it with naan breads, and that's looking increasingly unlikely. So, I'm going to just take that off to the side. Let's, I think, as a precaution, let's just get some rice together. Poor Mrs. L not with us, still working, so I don't want her to have to come down and then have to wait as I try and fix and salvage the situation. Swap more oil, because the pan is now steaming quite badly. In fact, just for fire alarm purposes, I might just open the window as well. Come on, a bit more oil, please. There we go. Right. Oops, daisy. There we are. Right. This first one has not worked. What I've got is some slightly charred bread. It is not a naan bread in any shape or form. So I'm going to just leave that to try and do whatever it's going to do. And we're going to get the second one in and hope that we get just a slightly better effect by having really rolled it out very thinly indeed. So let's just try. There we go. So we've got a bit of a sizzle there. So let's just see if there's a thickness problem as well. Not just with the chef, I hasten to add, who, it can be said, definitely has a thickness problem. So let's just quickly, some backup rice. Oh dear, dear, dear. I forgot where I left the rice. How are you this evening, Waffle? You doing all right? What we're having is just a slightly underproved flatbread at this point. Thick chef. Yes. But, you know, it's about noon here, just working a lot of meetings. Oh, very good. Jolly good. Yes, thick. Certainly, there's a lot of that that's grown because of the lockdown here for sure. It's my own fault for having a voracious appetite. I'm reminded, in fact, of a thing Mrs. Owl showed me online about, how, sort of a surprise for a man coming home from work, and there's a picture of the wife has made a beautiful dinner, the kitchen is spotless, the man's done the same thing, and it's just utter carnage everywhere. That is very much what is happening here this evening. I'm only concerned that she might be watching this upstairs thinking, oh God, I don't want to come back downstairs. Now that will do quite nicely. You stay there, I'll stay up here. Right, let's just take that off. In fact, no, let's just flip this one. So, okay, that one's looking potentially more promising. Let's get the first one off and just see whether or not that's even edible. What I'm doing is I'm just turning the curry off, and I'm going to just leave it on the hob just to stay hot, and then I'll check it before we serve it, and we'll take it from there. So, add 2 grains of rice to the naan pan. Oh, did I? Oh God, I did. Thank you. God, good eyes. Oh, that's hot. Oh, that's hot too. Don't do that. That's really stupid. Right, so here's the first one. Let's just break it open to see. Well, we've got no air pockets rising. When I push it down, it's the same thing that happened last time. I don't know if you remember, chaps, but we did a couple, and to be quite frank, you could probably roll that back to dough if I tried hard enough. If I took off the outer edge. I mean, but even without the outer edge, I can roll that. You see there, it has literally just gone back to dough texture. So there is a problem there. I don't quite know where along the chain of the recipe that's happened. So let's put them to one side. In fact, I may just give Mrs. Owl a quick call and say we are getting close to the end of naan carnage, if she's not already watching, and let her know that she can at last have something to eat and stop working for the day. Ooh. I'm going to block the license plate of the car that's coming down the country lane. It's disappeared. Right, chaps, 2 seconds. Right. So we're going to come back here, see if we can salvage any of this. So, you see, we're getting good colouring. I'm hoping that if I rapid fire just do them a bit thinner, we might be saved. But I can tell you, it is really, really warming up in here now. This is a very, very hot pan, which I suppose is the entire point, really. So I'll also take odds on the reaction of Mrs. Owl when she comes down. I think the words will be, "Oh my God." Oh, yes, literally 2 seconds. I do my best, Do my best to keep an exact time. I don't want to mislead you, Waffle. Also, Mr. Joe. Forbid. Right, let's get that one off. Don't do what I just did there. That's really bad practice. So I'm going to just, again, make them as thin as I possibly can. A bit more oil in there because we're starting to get a burning smell from the pan. In fact, let's abandon the healthy oil. Forget this. We are past the point of healthiness here. Let's just try and get it right. How'd the meal last night come out flavour-wise? Delish. You cannot go wrong with that combination. Even though we didn't have the proper potatoes, it was still lovely. And I'm really hoping that the chicken has been worth the failure of the naan breads, and indeed the shock of my poor wife as she comes downstairs and sees the bedlam that I have caused in her absence. In fact, this one is in fact now too thin and it's ripping in half. No, 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 no. Oh dear. I believe the appropriate music is womp womp. So let's as thin as I possibly can. Yes, actually, we never. What did everyone else have for dinner last night? Actually, yes. How was your Wagamama, Mr. Nosley? Your katsu curry? I'll keep rolling over here. Try and get some thin to manage naan breads. No, we're too sticky now. Hang on, let's get some oil in the hand. We can do this. I can clean up this mess. I can fix this. It's normally the line of people in movies where they absolutely cannot fix it, and I think I may be channeling them in spirit. But at least we sort of did it in advance, so we managed to get some rice on as well. There we are. So again, ignoring what I'm doing here. Do you know what? Actually, I will be sensible this time. Right. Oh, hey, look at that! I've got some good colour on this one. Maybe because I was nattering and I forgot what I was doing. But here you go. Some real charcoal texture on this one, which may mean all I've done is made a sort of charcoal underproved naan bread. I accidentally put in lighter coconut milk instead of full fat, so it turned out a little watery, but still. Good man. Now, there you go. There's recovery. Now, there we go. Unlike what you're seeing unfold before you, which is the antithesis to recovery. It's just... I certainly would give it another go, but I think I'm going to have to take a long time just to work out what happened between those two recipes. Apart from, of course, the simple answer of user error. Because what should be quite nice about these is they've got Greek yogurt in them, fat-free. And you can definitely get the lightness. Do you know what? I've done that twice already today. Let's remember that I have tongs, shall we? Maybe the answer is... But actually, can you see that all right there, chaps? Or will we be better over... No, I think we're okay here, aren't we? Let's just keep going. Never give up. Never give in. However, you may occasionally want to give in when you're totally butchering your own creation. So as well, if you're interested, Waffle, we've got a Discord is now up and running, and we're pondering, or we were just pondering before you joined us, about putting recipes in there in a read-only format, which I think is a darn clever idea. Very clever indeed. So here we are. Oh really? Do you have a link command for it? We do. It should be in the info section of the Twitch account, I think. That's clever. Is there something I can do even fancier? So when you do exclamation mark Discord, it just comes up for you. Or do I need to, I think I need to set that up. I've not been that clever, Waffle. You've demonstrated my lack of knowledge. I think, to be honest, what I'm going to do is I'm possibly not seeing it in the info section. Maybe I've done something wrong there as well. Professional stuff, you can tell. Yeah, you're watching a man stuff up one recipe, cook the other one too soon, and can't even get his own channel together. It's obviously a man who is a professional in every regard. If you can't laugh, eh, chaps? If you can't, we just wrap these up, keep them warm. Can you help out, Mr. Naans? Where did you find it? Did you go to Discord and type my name? Were you able to find on the Twitch channel? Because I've noticed I've put info and links, but whenever I load them up on the computer, they never show up. Again, this is possibly you're sort of delving into the mind of a man who's not quite in the 21st century just yet. He's getting there, you know, getting there. Get rid of some of this waste we're clearly not going to need. I think we've had enough attempts at this dough. I'm going to freeze the rest. There's only 2 of us eating as well, so fortunately they have just, I'm afraid, not worked. Do you like rice cookers or prefer stovetop? Interesting you should ask, Waffle, because we have just bought ourselves a rice cooker. Mrs. Al is a massive fan of all things Korean, and one of the things that's in her research was that a lot of people, particularly in the UK apparently, cook rice the same way that we effectively cook pasta, which is apply water and just cook, as I'm doing right now in fact. And apparently once you've tried steaming rice and used a rice steamer, once you've done it you never go back apparently. So we had the opportunity. I just pressed on the profile and found it under the blurb of Storts, which starts the link was not clickable. I'm going to have to fix that, aren't I? Sorry, folks. My bad. That's my mistake. I will fix that for you. But there you can find the link, Waffle. And I will get it. We will get there. We will get full functionality soon. It's been a long time coming. So whilst we're doing this as well, I'm just checking a piece of our Balti chicken. Have I even got a plate? Aha. Right. So, just turn you around for the quick tasting here. So, first check, of course, pull apart. Are we cooked all the way through? Yep. Wow. I tell you what. The naan may be rubbish, but the chicken is not bad at all. Okay. 50% of the meal has worked. Leave these in as long as I possibly can. Rice is nearly done. Curry's heating up. I'm going to try, if I can, to clean some of this before poor Mrs. Al comes down and recoils in horror. As to be quite frank, she would be right to do. Just bring some sort of slight semblance of order to the ongoing chaos. So let's come back here, chaps. So, yeah, the more it cools, the more you can see that it really is just a doughy texture. I really hope these, because they're thinner, I may have pulled it out the bag slightly. Grew up with a rice cooker. Oh, did you like it too then? Have you? So you probably got experience with the two. Which is you never do stovetop. There we go. That's vindication for us. Marvellous. So that should actually be arriving sometime this week, which we're very excited about. As is my brand new coffee machine, which I'm terribly excited about, because by the time you see me, folks, I've long since seen the last of a cup of coffee. But my goodness, am I a fan of a cup of coffee to get me up in the morning. And my very, very favourite from all of my travels, and I know there's a nice chap here earlier, his name escapes me for a moment, who was just asking about Turkish cuisine. But not Turkish coffee, but the coffee of the Venetians. is my absolute favourite. They call it a macchiatone, and it is, in my view, the best. The best you can get. It really is. Which may be a brave statement, given the number of coffees out there. Plus the rice cooker is a bit more hands-free. So yes, I liked that fact. I really did. Whew, good grief, this pan is absolutely roasting hot. Hang on. But no, don't do that. I was about to commit a cardinal sin. This is boiling hot. Don't pour water straight on it. You chaps probably know that. Very bad for it. I tell you what, as we are drawing to a close again, and I must soon bid you farewell from your marvellous company, we'll just do a quick tidy up. We'll get some of these dough balls away. Let's find a tub that's large enough for them. I'll be honest, I don't think it's even going to matter that they're squashed down a bit because they're just so underproved. Let's just put a little bit of parchment just to break them up. So all I'm doing at this point is I'm taking the dough, line of parchment on the top, work that off. So then if you want to grab them one at a time, you're away. In fact, only 3 fit in, so what the heck, let's do the last one. Great logic there. Tell you what, let's even just do a hand job with it. Yes, one of the things as well, I like the fact that you can do things that aren't rice in it. And you just think as a universal tool, it seems an absolute cracker, the rice cooker. But no, once we've got the new equipment, I shall walk you over to and around the kitchen. I'll have a bit of play with it and see how it does. One thing I'd like to do again is Mrs. Al's banana bread, because it was an absolute cracker. The best I've actually had in a long, long time. Which includes, I'm amazed to say, a tour around the kitchen, you mean? I'll show you the various bits and pieces. Because we're not, massively well stocked, but we've got 1 or 2 bits that really do a good universal job. I mean, even things just down to this, the scraper, because I've got paid a little bit extra to get a nice countertop in here, and just having something as simple as a bread scraper. In fact, again, on our travels, one thing I saw which I thought was lovely for just as a nice sort of showing off thing if you've got guests. I know Mr. Nosler recently took a brave turn when he took a cooking date on Valentine's Day, I think it was. And I only discovered this afterwards, otherwise I'd have said something, but it's basically a table brush. So in between courses, you just take your table brush, and if there's anything there, you just brush it away. Never seen it before, and I just thought it's one of the most civilised things I've ever seen. It's just fantastic. So we're just very quickly off shot doing our very last naan bread in the hopes that, I don't know, well, it saves me trying to find more freezer space if nothing else. We've got 3, couple there, got some rice here. Mrs. L not going hungry tonight. She may go berserk when she sees the amount of cleaning, but given how much she's worked today, the poor soul, I will understand that entirely. In we go, quick clean down. Oh, actually the bottom of the pan is catching fire over here, so let's just lift that off for a second. Why are you catching fire? Don't want it to catch fire. Dashed inconvenient. See, that's a good question, because I mean, the chaps here, you clearly all are, proficient around the kitchen. You know your way around a wok. If you had to pick something, what's your go-to kitchen implement? What could you not do without? I bet there's an interesting range of opinion on that one, I would bet. I mean, for me, for example, I've not used it this evening, but one thing that I always seem to use, and it sounds... Whoop, one thing I clearly do need to use is a better tripod. Didn't mean to make... Does it smell glorious?
Yeah. How's the naan bread? Can I try some?
Come and try one of these instead. Folks, here she is, Mrs. L, poor hard-working lady.
Oh, they look so
Do
good.
They? It is not gone to plan, so tell me what you think. The chaps will be interested to know. They've also been helping me because I've not got various bits and pieces right. Oh, hello. You happy with them? Because the moment of truth, I get an appreciative good.
The texture on the outside is really nice. Like it's nice and like crispy.
Yeah. The reason I didn't say eat that one was it was the very first one we did, and none of them have behaved correctly. This one.
What do you mean?
Because, well, this one was the first one, and it was thick, but if you look there, it goes back to dough. Again, pretty much instantly. But what we did was we rolled the other ones really, really thin, and it kind of might have saved the day. It didn't cook anything like the recipe said it should.
Oh, what, like puffing up?
Yeah, there were no air bubbles.
Have you tried like finishing it on the...
Do you know what?
Wow.
We didn't do that, chaps, did we? We didn't finish it on the open flame. Let's do that. Where's my tongs then?
I think it needs a bit more flavour.
You think?
Yeah, a lot more salt in it or something.
Let's just turn the chaps around, because we did say we were going to do this. We're going to finish it off.
Not with the really... That one's way too thick. Like, you're going to be cooking that one forever.
Do you want to find a really thin one and we'll just...
This one's really nice. I like that one.
You like that one?
Yeah.
So it's just
that one looks really good and dark. I mean, they've got the colouring of naan bread.
That's just a word of advice for the rice cooker when you get it. Wash the rice before.
What?
Waffle was saying he's always had a rice cooker and he would never do stovetop. Shall we give this one a go? Just give it a bit of charring on the outside?
I'm so hungry. This is so nice. This makes a lot of naan bread.
I would not be without my Sabatier kitchen knife, but the garlic press also comes to mind. And hello, Mrs. Al from Mr. Nozzle. That's an interesting one.
Hi.
Right.
Yeah, we need to get a garlic crusher thing.
I'm going to do this quite carefully because obviously the tongs I'm using are plastic. So we are just trying to get a bit of colour without any melted plastic.
Maybe this was folly. Maybe we should wait until you have like metal tongs or something, Chris.
I think a great kitchen knife. I would agree.
I was thinking that you should get a chef's knife.
Really?
Yeah.
Well,
like a proper one.
You can see that I panicked slightly as to the naan bread because now we have rice as well because I thought they were so.
Oh, this one's delicious. I've eaten the delicious stuff, so I'm sorry.
They looked so bad.
Why is that? It's so good.
Very thin though, Jack. It's not bad.
Why are you not happy?
It's just I'm never happy unless it comes out spot on. Anyway,
but
also,
how is this not spot on?
You say hello to the chaps. I'm just going to get some curry in the bowls, so because when we can do a bit of a taste on them as well.
Have you tasted any?
I've tasted some of the chicken.
Is it good?
So I was also singing the praises of your banana bread as well.
It wasn't my banana bread.
It is now. You've laid claim to territory.
No, we can't do that. That's naughty. FDA kitchen knife.
Right.
Oh yeah, my nails are horrendous now. Legit isolation nails.
Right, I'm going to serve up just a bowl. We'll do a quick taste for you chaps. And then this poor hard-working lady can
Oh my god, this is so good. I don't know if it's because I'm starving.
You're that hungry, you're just ignoring the flaws in it. Hey, it works for me.
It tastes really good. I think this one is really, really good.
Here we go. Let's get a bowl full of curry. We'll both tuck into this one. Here we are, chaps. Not too bad looking on the...
Look, your ring got complimented. Yeah, and he picked it all on his own. And I always get compliments on it. But he actually picked it all on his own.
Well, I'm a man
I
of the...
was so impressed.
I'm a man of the 1800s, clearly. It's a thing they used to do back then, wasn't it?
What, picking rings on their own? Yeah. No, they probably have their manservant go pick the rings.
No manservant for me. I laugh in the face of manservants. Oh, I don't. That'd be me.
Can you try? You're a best. Oh, is this someone else?
Who we got?
Is it? I can't get close enough to.
We've got Yakta Rafi. Can you try your best American accent?
Go on.
I nearly did Australian there. How could do? Howdy, y'all. Or
so you went like Texan.
I went Texan, or we can have was it New Jersey? Say water.
Like Bradley Oney.
Like Bradley Oney. We're gonna hang on, give us something to say in American. I'll give it a shot.
Isn't like the standard American accent just like the ones that you hear in Hollywood?
I think that's all we're working off. In fairness, just possibly not the best and most accurate.
I'm really bad at accents. What was the accent I was trying to do the other day?
Scottish.
Oh yeah, it was Scottish because we were watching this documentary about Scottish murder.
With also, I have to say, the most Scottish sounding lawyer you'll ever come across, who was called
McSporran.
McSporran. You might as well have called him Muck Scottish.
Say this is a nice burger. I want that burger. Say this is a nice burger.
Howdy, y'all. This is a nice burger. Slightly swinging to Elvis. Oh, thank you very much.
In the ghetto.
In the ghetto. Right, hang on. Let's have a try of...
It's quite watery.
It is. And the recipe did think it would go down a bit more than that. So let's just... Okay.
Is it good?
Where I'm curious and questioning the naans, the chicken is melt in your mouth soft.
Oh, I'll try chicken.
So I will thoroughly recommend this recipe. Oh, it's also hot. Should have said that. Peppers will come out nice and soft.
You also get the lime at the beginning. Do you get that?
Yeah. Also, for yak, I know I've said this to Mr. Nozzle and Joe, but for waffle and yak, Mrs. Owl's palate is a damn sign better than mine. And I'm not just being complimentary because she's it. It really is.
You are.
Yeah, well, I'm not, because like, when we try wine, for example, I can't pick out delicate flavours.
I can't with wine.
But you can with food. That's
Sometimes.
my point. That's where I go. So this, and I think the marinade has worked well. I wonder whether or not it's thinner because we marinated it for longer.
Because then... No, I don't.
I don't know, as you can see, Jack, it describes a thick sort of curry, but you can see even as I'm just sort of tilting it's watery. So it's probably a good thing we did some rice as well.
Yeah. But it's really, really nice. That's the thing that's different, because I was hoping that it would taste different to the normal curry that we make.
Yeah. In fact, funnily enough, it's funny you should say that, because we were just chatting and saying, because I always like to swap in onions and courgettes, but if I did that with every single curry, we'd end up eating the same curry every time.
No, because it's the flavour that's different. That's the point.
Well, and the ingredients too. But yes, I take your point, because this is a totally different spice flavouring. We don't normally have this sort of combination.
Yeah, I know, but also it's very similar.
Clearly we're creatures of habit, so I'm going to try some of the naan as well. Just... because who doesn't like dipping naan bread and so? Any other accents or phrases we want without insulting anybody?
But it's that hit of lime that you get at the start.
Yeah.
Quite cool. Well done.
Happy with that.
Yeah.
Maybe put some Greek yogurt with it just for fun. Right, folks. I'm going to start plating this up properly. So that means it's time for us to say ta-ta for now. I hope you've all had a lovely evening. For Yak, I'm sorry that you've joined us just as we're leaving. Come back and see us soon. We're going to be doing some more stuff this week. I've got rhubarb to make. We've got stuff arriving. I've been telling them about the rice cooker and the coffee machine. Shall I have that one? Do you want that one?
You'll have to do latte art.
Hey, what do we think, folks? Latte art? Not wishing to stick myself on a pedestal, given I have no idea how to do it. I'll do this one.
Watch lots of videos.
Did you say one?
Okay.
Bit more veg, bit more meat?
Sure. Both.
Both. There we go.
Yeah, and then rice.
Spot of rice. There we go. I don't know what that even is. Sounds fancy. What, the latte art? That's where you do, you know, your designs on top of your coffee. Right, so spot of rice for you.
When people draw like swans.
Yeah.
That's
the
the
only
most
thing
intricate one I've seen.
I think I'll just be slightly concerned if I draw something that's vaguely rude by accident. Do you know, I used to work in a long time ago. I worked in a public house, and I was asked to draw a shamrock in a pint of Guinness. I shall leave it all to your imaginations, how badly that came out and how much I could not serve that.
Who was it?
Suggestive pint of Guinness.
Who ordered it?
Oh, it's just a chap, a regular.
I know, but like it's a different. Like if you give it to like someone of a similar age, that's one thing. But if you're giving it to like a girl or an elderly person,
it was indeed an elderly chap, I'm afraid to say, and I just looked down and went, "Nope, can't serve you that."
Oh yeah, look, you'll have to redeem yourself. And
redeem it. Okay, there's a deal. Right, we'll work on some form of latte art.
Because you can still do that with macchiatonis.
Absolutely, we can. So there we go, folks. It didn't quite go to plan, but what we got at the end of the day is two. Trying to organise it, you can see it. Got 2 garlic and lime curries with a spot of emergency rice and a couple of naans that we rescued.
That one was very
burnt. That were rescued from the ashes. So, folks, pleasure to have chatted to you. Lovely always to cook with you. We've got good things coming. We'll fix the Discord. We'll work out to stick recipes there. I'll fix the links. We'll get a schedule together soon too. We're going to try and do more and more. But I've taken some great suggestions. Latte art's in there. Apparently doing impersonations and accents, you know. It seems to be a thing. Look into follower alerts as well. And what are they? I'll tell you. I'll
maybe
look
the alerts.
Oh, when someone follows you, so you know. Oh, okay, right.
No.
So you can.
Oh, right.
So you know when. Oh, okay. I didn't know you could do that.
I don't know.
Brilliant. Right. I'll look into that too. Waffle. Thank you very much. Tip usefully taken. So from both of us, we'll go and have our dinner now. Thank you very much for joining us. We'll be back soon. If you're in doubt, I know Waffle's on quite a bit doing his bits and pieces. Go check him out as well. And we'll be back on this week or this weekend. Mm-hmm. We'll see you then. Have a great night, everybody. I still can't turn this off. Toodaloo, everyone.